Hi, you guys. It's so good to be here. First of all, I want to tell you why I've been crazy. Ah! We got a puppy. We got a puppy. We got a puppy for my son for his 9th birthday. And she's making me crazy. She's absolutely adorable. But I am here to make a video because so many of you guys have asked me how I'm doing now that I am, I have notes. I am 10 months out from having my SOT for Lyme. It'll be 10 months in 2 days. And I have had so many of you guys reach out to me and ask me how I'm doing, and there is not enough time in the day for me to tell each of you how I'm doing. And it's also kind of a long story. And first, I'm going to tell you, I think the most important thing, what everybody wants to know is, how are my symptoms? What is different, right? What is different? And then next, I want to tell you what I've learned about healing Lyme, because I've learned a ton. And if you want to hang out and listen to that, feel free. And if you're like, I already know everything about Lyme, girl, I don't need to know another damn thing, then just turn it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my symptoms, and I'm going to tell you what symptoms I had and what symptoms I no longer have, right? Right. My biggest symptom ever was fatigue. I couldn't get up. I could not get up. I was exhausted. I would sleep 20 hours a day and I was exhausted. And I wake up now. I wake up and I'm up all day. And then I go to bed when it's time to go to bed. And that's a miracle. So, first of all, I still have pus in my ear holes, which I know is like such a small thing, but I still have it occasionally. They would clear forever and I'd be like, oh my God, they're clear, it's awesome. But basically if I put some cortisol on them at night, it goes away. It's not a huge deal. Cysts, acne, ganglion, wrist, and downstairs, not so bad. I generally get them on the left side. Very rarely do I get any cystic acne, maybe once every 3 months, and it usually doesn't actually like come out, and it's usually because I'm also perimenopausal and have a whole bunch of fun hormone stuff going on, and I'm still hypothyroid. Left rib on back, when I breathe really deep, my left rib on the back side hurts very badly off and on throughout my life. That happened really gnarly about, I want to say 2 months after being done with SOT, and it totally freaked me out. And that was about the same time I found out that I still had some Lyme after the SOT. I'm going to talk about that in the second portion of this. It's gone. I haven't had it at all. Right shoulder blade catches on, feels like it's catching on fire. Haven't had that. Vertigo off and on. Have not had any vertigo. Right neck, shoulder, arm. I still get that. That's a really old injury from childhood. It's this like tendon thing, and it kind of flares off and on. It's pretty good right now. Carpal tunnel, no. Swollen hands, nope. Shush. Tendinitis in thumbs and arches. I'm really happy to say that that has cleared. Now I am going to interject with that has cleared since I had oral surgery. I had a major oral surgery done at the end of May. And the reason to do that was to get rid of infections that I had had for up to 30 years. I had a root canal that I needed to get removed, and I had 4 cavitations from my wisdom teeth that 2 of them were infected, so we decided to take all 4 out instead. This was far more expensive than the SOT. Far more expensive. Thank you, Care Credit. I love you. You're wonderful. I'll be paying it off for the next 3 years. But the whole point of doing that was to get my immune system really back online so it could continue to fight the Lyme that was left. And I'm going to get more into that when I get into healing Lyme and my thoughts on that. So the tendinitis in the thumbs and arches are gone since the oral surgery. And that hung around for a really long time and was really painful. My uterus has not been vibrating. That is just a random weird thing. I have not had the rash on the right side of my belly, and I have not had pleurisy. I have not had any lung issues. I have not had chronic bronchitis. I had bronchitis 6 times in 16 months. I still cough occasionally. I'm still recovering. As far as I know, I still have cytomegalovirus, but I no longer have mycoplasma pneumonia. So I'm still at high risk for COVID, but my lungs are doing so much better. Chronic sinusitis, I have not had. Glandular stone in face, I have not had that. On the left side again, I have a glandular stone in my face and sometimes it'll swell up. I have not had that. I have not had I haven't had tonsillitis because I don't have tonsils. Mental illness is a very long story. My depression has changed. My mental illness has changed a lot, and there have been a lot of dramatic med changes. There have been a lot of changes, and my psychiatrist and I have been working very closely together on that. That is a separate issue, but it's also a Lyme issue. All I will say is I would never, ever, 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 ever recommend anyone goes off their psych meds ever, 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 ever without a psychiatrist, and a good psychiatrist. And the only reason I went off of them was because I had to, because my body got better from the Lyme and my serotonin started working. And suddenly I had way too much serotonin in my brain and I went into serotonin syndrome. So I am struggling with my mental health right now, but it's actually all good news. I'm on much, much, much less medication than I've ever been in my life, and I'm adjusting to that accordingly because I simply cannot handle medication any longer. But thankfully, I'm still able to take lithium, which is, thank God, because I have bipolar type 1 disorder, and it is a very, very serious disorder. Fever above 105, up to 100. That was when I was little. I haven't had any high fevers. The internal shivers, I've had some of those. I think it's because of the mental health though. Tingles when exhausted. I still get tingles when I get exhausted. I have not had any hand tremors. I have not had any neck tremors. And my low platelet issue has pretty much been fixed through taking a medication called nattokinase. And it's a soy derivative. I actually can handle soy. I know a lot of people can't. There's also an earthworm pill you can take, which is really expensive and blah. And they're basically my platelets really like each other when they get out of my body. So I immediately clot. So it's not a clotting disorder inside of my body, which would be very dangerous. It's clotting the second my blood gets out of my body. So it's not dangerous, it's just horribly annoying. It's like impossible to give blood. It's very hard for me to actually even, get blood out of me because it all goes like, hi, I love you, let's all be together. Okay. So what I can tell you is I haven't had a lot of tinnitus, which is the ringing of the ears. I no longer have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which means I still have hypothyroidism. I am still on 1.5 grains of Nature-Throid a day, but it means that my immune system is not attacking my thyroid any longer, but it has been for 30 years. So we don't know how much permanent damage there is. And seriously, I'm fine with taking Nature-Throid as long as I need to. It's just, it's a delicate balance, it's a delicate balance with bipolar disorder and hypothyroid, and it's hormones, and I'm in perimenopause because I'm 46 years old. So it's a delicate balance. It's not like easy street, but I can tell you that I really don't have any Lyme symptoms anymore. Anxiety disorder, not so bad. I had anxiety from taking a medication. Bipolar type 1, yes. PTSD, yes. Absolutely, I have those. I no longer have chronic active Epstein-Barr virus, which is amazing. I don't have sore throats anymore. I had sore throats every freaking day of my life. I always felt like I was coming down with a cold, and I don't have that anymore. I don't know if I have cytomegalovirus anymore. When I get another MDL done, I'll find out. I'm not in a huge hurry to find out. HHV5, HHV6 were IgG active, and my mycoplasma pneumonia. Oh my God, kill me now, right? My mycoplasma pneumonia is gone. So I would say that SOT was very successful. What I will say is that I have never been sicker in my life. SOT, I actually was talking with my health coach the other day about it, and she has experienced SOT with 10 of her clients, and she's never seen anyone get quite as sick as I did. And I was in a wheelchair at one point. I wanted to take my life, which, yes, I also struggle with mental health issues, but you know, Lyme does cause mental health issues too, because it inflames our brains. And I also don't see anything wrong with taking any sort of psych med if you need it when you have Lyme, because your brain's not okay. I mean, it's better to take a psych med than to kill yourself. I've seen too many people die by suicide from Lyme, and it's not necessary. SOT was absolutely incredible. It kicked my ass. It absolutely kicked my ass, and I would do it again. It was so hard. And I have an 8-year-old son. It was very hard on him. He's in therapy now. It was very hard on my family. It was very hard on my husband. And but what it did was it didn't eradicate the Lyme. And this is when I'm going to get into what I've learned about healing from Lyme, because I feel that I am healed with Lyme. I am living with Lyme, but I am healed from Lyme, if that makes any sense. I don't have symptoms anymore. So I have decided, because I've had such issues with my mental health, because SOT was so dramatic and took so much of my depression away and changed my serotonin in such a huge way, that I've been trying to get stable again since then. And it's not bad news, it's just really hard. I was going to do a second SOT, because basically when I went into the SOT, the only positive Lyme diagnosis I've ever had was from Prime Spot. I have never done an IGeneX. I've only done MDL, and I've done the Western blot through Quest, and they have always come up negative. I mean, yeah, 41 came up reactive, and somebody said, 70% of people have 41 reactive. And I don't know if that was a Lyme denier or if it was just somebody who felt like saying a fact. But I don't have a difficult time with that, because the way that I have come to understand Lyme, and this is just my opinion, a lot of us have Lyme. More people have Lyme than know it. It's just when we get to that tipping point, when we get to that boiling point, right? A lot of people can have Lyme and be fine. It is virtually impossible to go out there in the world, especially with bioweapons and all of that, if you believe all of that, which I do, because I've read Bitten, and it is pretty amazing and convincing. But there's a lot of ticks out there, and a lot of us love to go outside, and it's virtually impossible to not get bitten by a tick. And so a lot of us have Lyme, but we don't get sick from it. That's the difference. If I have a healthy immune system, if I was raised in a healthy family and not abused as a child as I was, and didn't end up alcoholic as I was, and had all these environmental factors kicking my ass as I had, I don't know if I would have gotten Lyme, because all of those things beat down an immune system of a young person trying to build cortisol and adrenaline constantly on a little immune system. Doesn't let it grow into a strong, robust immune system. So my immune system was horribly compromised. So by the time I was 25, I had Hashimoto's, and I'm sure I had Lyme. I was bitten by a tick on my soft spot when I was an infant. And I'm sure a lot of us have Lyme, but what I've learned about healing from Lyme is it's really about the immune system. This is what I agree with. And I also agree with there are big heroic treatments like SOT, like antibiotic, like what's a new one that I heard of? Filage? I'm not saying it right. There are so many ways up the mountain of healing. And some of them are extraordinarily expensive and are not available to people like you and me. And some of them are affordable. I mean, SOT was $3,000. That's not horrible. I had a doctor selling me $1,000 in supplements a month, okay? 3 months of supplements, 1 SOT. 3 months of supplements was not going to get my Lyme. I needed a heroic therapy to get it. But now that I've also had this oral surgery, which I think for me is the other clincher, right, to really get my immune system back online, I'm hoping that these two work. So I'm not doing the second SOT now. I might do it later. If symptoms come back, if I get sick again, I will do it, but not right now. My body has been through so much, and since we have the pandemic, I have an almost 9-year-old. I don't have any child care. I had 2 sitters back then that I gave all my money to. I'm unemployed. My husband's unemployed. I can't be down right now. I'm also doing a lot of trauma work on my traumatic childhood, which I think is helping. And I just want to say that what I've learned about Lyme is so much, and healing Lyme is so individual that I can stand up here and tell you what SOT did for me, but I can't tell you that's what it's going to do for you. I don't know what your co-infections are. I don't know if I have Babesia or Bartonella because it didn't come up on MDL and I haven't done any other tests for it. I know my mycoplasma is gone. And I know that Epstein-Barr is not technically a co-infection, but Epstein-Barr was my other huge issue. So I hope this gives you some hope. This is a lot of information. I don't know if SOT is right for you, and I'm not going to tell you that it is. I don't know if it's going to make you really sick. I also have friends who did SOT, and they just felt better and better and better. So it worked for me. And it's worked for a lot of people I know. But there are also a lot of other treatments that have worked. I have a friend who did antibiotic treatment, and it worked for her. It ruined her gut, but it worked for her. She doesn't have Lyme anymore. And I personally don't believe in being Lyme-free. I believe that that is an unrealistic goal, and maybe science will come out with more and totally prove me wrong, and that would be awesome. But as far as I feel like it's just another bacteria and another virus that we live with in our body, and as long as it's kept at bay, it won't hurt us. And I'm not a doctor. This is just my experience. And no matter what, I've always used my intuition. And I think I knew SOT was going to work for me because I knew SOT was going to work for me. And even though at the end of the day, I started out with a prime spot lab that showed intermediate Lyme, and I ended up with a lab that showed low Lyme levels. And I don't know what my Lyme levels are today, but today I'm going to continue to listen to my body and listen to my symptoms. And I hope that helps you. And if it doesn't, there are so many other wonderful people out there with wonderful methodologies and opinions. And what I can tell you is that it's a very complicated disease. And most of us who get it are very complicated people. and very beautiful, delicate people too. So please hang in there. And if I can leave you with anything, it's hope, because I never thought that I would feel good again. I've been sick most of my life. And today I'm not sick. So I love you. Love always. Laugh often. And eat carrots. Mwah. CourtRundell.com for more. Bye. Please hit the subscribe button. There.
And bell.
Watching. What?
And bell.
And ring my bell, please.